police. Right on, right on. Yeah, God bless America. Yeah, power to the people. Yeah, 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 yeah.
If you're wondering why he's celebrating, don't worry. We're going to catch you all the way up in about 3 days worth of trial. But before we do that, let me catch you guys up all the way to speed as to how we even got here and what is being deemed as the trial of Ohio. I just made that up. They're trying to call it trial of the century. It's time to come up with new names. But back to it. So Afroman a couple of years ago got his house broken into, doors basically burst in, gates smacked open, broken, by the Adams County Sheriff's Office in Ohio. This a couple of years ago. So what they came there for was drugs, abduction, and all the things that's in between there. What ends up happening is the warrant was wrong. They took money because he had a safe in it that actually had nothing, but they took over $4,000. It's like $4,400 and something dollars. But what ends up happening is they miscount the money, so he's missing 400 some odd dollars. That gets admitted to by the sheriff's people. Then on top of that, he basically says, Afroman, to the sheriff's office, hey, what the heck about my door and my gate? Y'all gonna fix that? Because the warrant is wrong and y'all should have never been there in the first freaking place. The sheriff's office, according to Afroman, one of the sheriffs smirk and basically say, that ain't our fault. So what Afroman does is he uses his creative side because he's a rapper. If y'all remember him, I was gonna go to school, but then I got high. That song. What ends up happening? Afroman decides to make songs upon songs about his injustice. And that's where we're at today. Let us start off with officer number 1.
Tell me what fact about you that receding hairline or dipshit refers to, please?
I'm sorry?
What private fact of yours does that refer to?
I mean, there's a picture of me, and let's see here. Talking about, see, I wouldn't trust him with methamphetamine crack ass alone in my house.
So
I find that pretty insulting.
So that statement is what you're suing on?
Well, no. I told you this is one of many.
Well, and that's why we're trying to find.
You keep trying to make it singular. I'm telling you it's not singular, it's plural.
Okay, and so one of them is dipshit, one is receding hairline,
Yep.
and the other is meth heads.
Yes.
Is there any more?
Well, when he's sitting there making accusations against the organization that I, at that time, was working for, destroying community trust, all based off of a lie, that's what ultimately stopped.
And that's community trust in the Adams County Sheriff's Department, correct?
Yes.
Hold on, free cash, man. I wore this shirt because I know that you did it. You did it. You hit that QR code or you tap that link in the description. You playing free cash today on this great Wednesday. Throw your W's up, man. Listen, $5 from Nash, from free cash. Check it out. Play some games, get paid. That simple, that easy. Number 2 in the goddamn Apple Store. Number 3 in the Google Play Store for a reason. Read the reviews before you do. But once you do, don't get too addicted and be like, yo, Nash, I want to hit that cash yet, bro. I got some money for you. Keep your money, man. You did it. Gotcha.
You're claiming that is the defamation statement is that he said he had sex with your wife?
Yes.
Okay. And that's painted you in a false light?
It's caused tremendous pain in my life.
I'll get to that. We have to go through false light first. So does it paint you in a false light?
Yes, that my wife is cheating on me with Mr. Foreman.
But we all know that's not true, correct?
I don't know.
Wait, you don't know if your wife's cheating on you or not?
You want to go there?
No, I just want to ask that question because you said we don't know. I just
Been with
need
that
to answer
woman
it.
since middle school.
I know.
I would hope she wouldn't. But you know what? Once somebody puts it out there for their fun and entertainment, it's out there. And it's a problem.
So it's something we cannot verify the truth of? Is it a thing that can be verified, true or false?
Ask your client.
Then it starts to become painstakingly obvious that the judge is so biased towards the police that he can't even hide this
People
shit.
have come up to you and asked you if you were a thief.
I've had phone calls and I've had it happen.
When was the first time that happened? To you personally during your career?
In my entire career?
Yes.
I never had anything until this came about.
You never had anybody
Not
ask you
told me.
about being a thief and when
No.
your wife was charged with theft?
No.
when your wife pled guilty to stealing from her employer?
Tell me why you would do that to the jury.
Your Honor, I
Why
would
you
ask
do
this.
that to the jury?
Your Honor, I'm asking a question that builds on his reputation. He says he has never been called a thief before, yet he keeps saying that everybody treats him differently. This goes to his reputation. He is used to this. This has happened before. To say that this is the only thing causing the problem has ever hurt his reputation, he's opening up the door so that I can ask the question about what's affecting his reputation.
So I'm going to allow this so you can see how it does or does not affect him alone. Just don't get caught up that your spouse's character is your character, because it's not.
So restating the question, Mr. Eastep, your wife did steal from her employer, correct?
Yes.
And it was a felony sum of money, correct?
Yes.
Which is over $1,000.
Yes.
And you were part of the search of Mr. Foreman's residence, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever have any contact with the money?
I noticed some money in a coat pocket and I pointed it out to Detective Newland.
And is that the money that Mr. Newland testified earlier that was upstairs?
That should have been some of it, yes. I didn't do the collection of it.
You just pointed it out in the pocket?
Yes.
Another officer took it out of the pocket?
I assume.
Okay. Do you remember which officer you pointed it out to?
I told Detective Newland.
I know what y'all saying. I know what y'all thinking. Yes, this is a real trial. Yes, these are real police officers. Yes, this actually happened. Yes, 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 yes. And it gets worse. It gets so bad. My favorite Disney movie of all time gets brought up into this. What the hell?
Is it true that Mr. Foreman called you a hunchback?
Yes.
And specifically compared you to Quasimodo,
Yes.
the Disney hero?
I'm assuming that's who it is.
Or Quasimodo from the Disney movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame?
I've never watched it, so I don't know.
So you would agree that when a person says that someone's a crooked defense attorney, they're not meaning that on like a vine, they're meaning that as a opinion, correct?
Correct.
Would you agree that when someone calls you a thief, it might be an opinion of theirs?
Can be, yeah.
Same as if when people say crooked cops, it's just an opinion?
Yeah.
And so is your entire claim for false light that you were called a thief?
Yes.
You would agree that Mr. Foreman is an artist, subject to exaggeration?
I guess so, yeah.
And just for the sake of question, nobody would ever think you're Quasimodo from the book, correct?
I don't guess. People think different things.
And how this next clip even exists in this world, I don't know. But Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, you welcome.
Complete song, and then summarize it, because I only want to say it once. Are you familiar with the song Wet Ass Pussy?
Yes,
Is that a rap song?
it is.
Has your students played it in class?
Once, and I asked them to please turn it off.
When they were listening to it, did they think that was fact?
No,
So they didn't think that that was depicting anything in real life?
no,
So you didn't have to teach them that wasn't real?
right, no, I did not.
You've heard the song, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you believe it's a literal interpretation?
No,
Would you agree it's derogatory towards women,
no,
even though it says nasty things about them?
yeah, no, I mean, it's the artist's opinion, I guess. That's the way I feel.
Maybe not an opinion you like, but
Yeah,
In my opinion, this is what a good prep looks like, meaning your lawyer basically either has another lawyer or him himself prep you for questions that you're going to have on the stand. And that's that. You know, normally they always tell people you don't want to go up on the stand. It'd be a good idea if you don't. But I think Afroman actually saved his own self, because him and the lady that was prior to this, to me, they make the point of it all. Bruh, it's just music.
Large presence on social media, obviously, correct?
Depends on your definition of large. There's bigger people than me, but I'm all right.
And on Instagram, is it fair to say that you have 247,000 followers?
Yeah, I just got some of them the other day. I made it.
You got new ones coming all the time
Not all the time, just here lately.
because the trial's coming up?
Yeah, all the publicity from the officer's lawsuit and me is running up my numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On YouTube, you have almost 1 million followers, 983,000. Is that right?
I haven't looked. It was 977 last time I looked.
And on TikTok, you have about 392,000 followers.
I haven't looked at it, but that sounds kind of right. I didn't know nothing. The lady at the sheriff department just volunteered the information. I was sitting there, you know, if she had been, I might not even known I got ripped off. She admitted it live on Channel 19 News that the money wasn't right.
You remember in your deposition when I asked you why did you bring the news when you picked up the money?
Yeah, I didn't want to get beat up or Epstein at the sheriff's station after I seen him running around my house with AR-15s. So that's why I brought the news and my attorney. So to make sure I got out of that place with my money.
You brought the news to protect you physically.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't bring the news because you already knew there was a miscount and you were going to make.
I didn't know nothing about the miscount. I didn't know. I figured they stole my money. They turned my cameras off. So if you turn my cameras off, you must got something bad in mind.
You the right to do everything you.
Under the circumstance that I got freedom of speech, after they run around my house with guns and kick down my door, I got the right to kick a can in my backyard, use my freedom of speech, turn my bad times into a good time. Yes, I do. And I think I'm a sport for doing so. Because I don't go to their house, kick down their doors, flip them off on their surveillance cameras, then try to play the victim and sue them.
You were at Lisa Phillips's deposition, correct?
Yes, sir.
In your lawyer's office?
Yes, sir.
Same office where you filmed part of that video last Friday?
Yes, sir.
And you saw how upset she was when she was answering your lawyer's questions about how this had affected her, right?
Yes, yes.
And you saw your attorney say, do we need to take a break?
Yes.
And you saw her say, no, let's go on and get this over with.
Yes, sir.
You saw all that.
Yes.
You knew she was upset.
Just like she knew I was upset when she was standing in front of my kids with an AR-15 with her hand around the trigger ready to shoot me. Just like she knew I was upset when she cut my cameras. But I'm not a person, she is. So I'm sorry for being a victim. Let's talk about the predators.
Okay. So you saw all that. You saw how upset she was. You heard the testimony about her children. You heard the testimony at the depositions about Randy Newland's daughter who came home upset. You heard all that. But you're still posting stuff about it.
Yeah, because I understand it was Randy's fault and all of their fault for coming to my house in the first place. So if they hadn't came to my house, their children wouldn't be saying nothing. None of this would be going home if they did their research and did things right. So all of this is their fault. And now they want to sue me for their mistake.
Is there anything that could change your mind about what you're doing to these deputies?
Is there anything that can change my mind about the fact that they shouldn't have been at my house in the first place? Is there anything that can change my mind about how my money shouldn't have been touched in the first place? No.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So then Afroman's lawyer decides to do a very crafty closing argument where essentially he's letting y'all know it's not as serious as these cats are saying. It's really not what these cats are trying to point it out and make it out to be. And I don't really think he lands it, but you be the judge.
They print me a couple songs, rap songs, while I was pouring a cup of coffee. And the first one is Carly B, WAP. I find it bad to say what WAP means, but it's a popular song. I think it's somewhat derogatory, but then again, I'm not the audience for that song, and I know that. I know nothing in that song. Nothing. Talking about is true. I know it's entertainment. I know it's social commentary. Miss Grooms testified even her students knew that at a young age. The same thing I knew when I was watching Johnny Carson, The Late Night Show, and SNL, Saturday Night Live, with my grandfather when I was a kid. That's all entertainment. They make fun of everybody for entertainment. And some of it is a social commentary. But it is not fact. And everybody knows that. Nobody looks at Lil Wayne's song Pussy Monster and says there's a monster in that song. Everybody knows it's exaggeration for entertainment. Is he commenting on something? Sure. But it's not fact. And I can keep going. Megan Thee Stallion with sex talk. I mean, it just goes on. They use derogatory language. It's designed to entertain. Drew Hastings, former mayor of Hillsborough, was a comedian. I got to go to one of his stand-ups. Some of it was funny, some of it wasn't. Some of his jokes, like those of Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, some of them are not tasteful, but they're still jokes. They're not facts. And we know that. That's what a reasonable person listening to that would understand. And that's the point. This is not a vacuum. We don't live in a vacuum. Let's face it, if we lived in a vacuum, we'd all be dead because we couldn't breathe. So we live in a world full of everything, where we see things. We watch SNL. We know it's entertainment. We know it's going to pick on people. We understand that they're picking on public officials. Well, they picked on Joe. They pick on Donald Trump all the time, Sleepy Joe. I mean, go down the list, even Teflon Ron was made fun of. So as you go back, nobody thinks that's fact. Nobody's going to take it that way. When they post their clips on YouTube, when they post their clips on Facebook, people don't look at it and go, that's the truth. No, they understand it's comedy. They understand they're going to talk about it going forward.
Now, the cop's attorney, this fool went straight up. Tell you to do this, da 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 da, blah blah blah. God sent y'all to do this and everything, and send him home packing, making sure he got money for the police. It gets to the point where I think he lost the case. I believe Afroman, the female that was on there, and the goddamn DA, well, the attorney for the police, I believe he loses the case because of the ridiculousness. Roll it.
Higher than us that brought you here today to do this job, and that you are the chosen people to do it. Nobody else is going to do it. There's not going to be another trial. There's not going to be a second chance. This is the day to decide whether Mr. Foreman gets away with what he's done, and whether these plaintiffs deserve something to make up for what they've been through, and whether the community is told that what he did is unacceptable. It's not okay. We talked about different kinds of damages. There's not going to be economic damages in this case. There's no doctor bills. There's no damaged property. There's damage to reputation. There's pain and suffering. There's public humiliation. There's everything you saw and heard from these detectives from the witness stand. And the only thing you can do as a jury to decide this case is to render a verdict of money that somehow stands in, somehow represents the harm that these deputy sheriffs have been put through over 3.5 years. That's all you can do. You can't issue an order that says stop. You can't issue an order that says, say you're sorry. All you can do is issue a verdict for an amount that fairly stands in, represents what they've been through, what they've lost. No one else is going to do it. The judge isn't going to do it. Court of Appeals isn't going to do it. It's your job. And you're the people meant to do it. In my opinion, I fucked his wife doggy style. He said it like they were facts. $1.5 million for Lisa Phillips from what she's been through for 3.5 years. May be going through for who knows how long. For Brian Newland, I'm asking you to issue a verdict for $1 million for what he's been through with his family, the loss of his dream job here in Adams County. For Randy Walters, I'm asking you for a verdict of $1 million for what he's been through with the allegations and vile videos about his wife. For the other 4 plaintiffs, Sean Grooms, Sean Cooley, Justin Cooley, and Mike Estep, I'm asking you for a total, for all 4 of them, of $400,000 divided among them however you see fit based on their testimony. Verdict for the plaintiffs will say that we don't condone, we don't approve, you can't get away with what Mr. Foreman's done. Not in this community, not in this country. That's not freedom of speech where we live. That's what a verdict for the plaintiffs will say. Let's look at another possible future if there were to be a verdict for the defendant, or if there were to be a verdict with a small amount of money attached to it. In that case, in that world, in that future, the world is told what he did is okay, what they went through is no big deal, we don't really care, we think it's fine. That's what a verdict for the defendant, or a small verdict, would say. They would go home subject to even more ridicule. Yeah, you took him on and you lost. See, what he did was fine. I don't have to tell you, you know, that's not the message we want to send. It's not the message you want to send. Folks, I'm done. I've done all I can. These folks called me 3 years ago now and asked, what can we do to stop this? And here we are today. I've done what I can. They've done what they can. They've suffered through the publicity. They could have stopped this case at any time if they would have kowtowed to the pressure, public humiliation that Mr. Foreman continued to put them through, but they didn't. They bravely stood behind their case and their right not to be drugged through the mud with lies in the media. They've done all they can. And now I am giving their case and this decision to you.
So they deliberated today, and they had basically news to make. It gets good for Afroman.
Okay, go ahead and have a seat. So the court was informed the jury reached a verdict, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. So if you'll hand the verdict forms to the bailiff, you'll hand them to me so I can take a look at them. I looked at the form of the papers, essentially to see if they're properly signed. So that's the next thing that happens. Thank you. In all circumstances, the jury finds in favor of the defendant. No plaintiff verdict prevailed. So the matter will be concluded with defense verdicts. Thank you, Mr. Klingler. Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Thank you to the court staff and the Sheriff's Department for security in the building. And we'll go ahead and stand adjournment.
Yeah. Good for them. Because Afroman wasn't just up against the police and their lawyer. He was up against the freaking judge, in my opinion. The way that judge conducted himself, it was hard for him to hide his bias. But Afroman decided he wanted to speak out.
And speaking directly after that verdict.
I didn't win. America won. America still has freedom of speech. It's still for the people, by the people.
Afroman becoming emotional there as he says this fight was bigger than him. It was about free speech and what he describes as corruption in this sheriff's department. I spoke to one supporter who came all the way from Dallas. I have more on that and more reaction from the rapper tonight.
Here's the main takeaway you should all have. Number one, the police should automatically have a fund set up for repairs and damages where they get shit wrong. It's not hard for the police to have insurance on stuff like that. When they talk about public trust and shit, first off, one thing about trust that you have to have is accountability. If you do something wrong, should it not be on you to fix it? So that's number one. But they'll say, and I know a shit ton of lawyers will say this lame ass shit. They're not right or wrong, in my opinion. It just is what it is. They'll say, well, if the cops admit this shit, then that's an admission of guilt, which leads to automatic lawsuit, which means to let's settle this out of court. So be it. But the freaking insurance would cover that with no admission of guilt from the police. All they would have to do is go through the freaking insurance. But the smirk and all that, I believe that. Look how these cops are lying. Look at Molisha. Yeah.
What I'm gonna do, now keep on laughing. She gonna eat your wife's pussy.
Wait a minute. What the fuck? Hey, that.
Oh, this. I did a show one night, and this girl said, hey, Afroman, I want to give you some sisters.
That I have to be emotional because your client lies. I've had a deep voice in my entire life. I did not wake up one morning and beg God to have a deep voice, alright? I have not had a sex change. I do not have a penis. I shouldn't have to prove I don't have a penis.
So now I'm to believe what? And some of y'all will say, well, you know, man, a lot of these people, they are definitely the softest of the softest, so it's not difficult to believe. And I can see that. But the problem that I have is this. Afroman can't countersue. Well, we'll see now, because he definitely has it on his hands to do that. But secondly, I didn't even believe the jury was going to do this. Shout out to the jurors. First and foremost, shout out to the jurors for getting it right. Because at the end of the day, Afroman is correct. None of this shit would exist had the police not did that. The police turned off his effing in-home security. You would think if we doing our jobs, hold on, I gotta put I wore this shirt for a reason. You would think that if we are doing our jobs and we already wearing body cams, which is not mandatory in the United States, by the way, it just helps for certain things like we do our job right and we're filming this, we can go ahead and put this out there and shut up the crowds that say that we're out there doing wrong. So you guys turned off his security camera. That's violation number 2. But number 3, and I think this part has to be painted and pointed out the most. It could be you. To me, if I'm a juror, I'm saying, so damn, if I speak out about these people breaking and entering in my house on a warrant they didn't even double check on, if they do this crap, like, bruh, if they could do this to him, they could do this to me. I would have personalized it, and I think that's what they ended up doing. The jurors, in my opinion, not that I talked to any of these cats or anything, they basically say, you know what? This shit could be us. It just can. Look at what they're doing. I believe the jurors sent a message the other way. See, the lawyer for the cops said, no, this, and this. They said, hell no, we sending the police a message. Do your job better and do your job right and take some type of effing accountability so shit like this don't happen. But if I'm Afroman, I'm getting the fuck out of there. I'm leaving. I'm gone. Y'all can have Adams County, Ohio, bruh. Nah, I'm out of here. Ain't no way in hell, because they will stalk and harass him on some retaliation shit. That's how I see it. To me, they gonna make sure, bruh, if your lights ain't bright enough, if you got certain decals that ain't even in the right space and freaking inch by inch, centimeter by centimeter, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they gonna make sure every single time they see me, they gonna pull me over and figure out what type of traffic infraction I have so they can suspend my license and make my life very inconvenient. I'm taking my win and I'm getting the hell out of here. I know some of y'all will be like, no, fight the power. You gotta fight. Hell nah. Victory over. I'm done. Afroman gonna go on a freaking tour. If he come down here in Houston, I'm for sure gonna do it. If he do a meet and greet, I'm even pay for the meet and greet. Not because the songs were good. They were, they ain't really what I'm listening to. But he built up his fan base. He ran it up. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. I wish more rappers would do this shit when they tasked with controversy. Y'all, let me know your thoughts on this. I try to get this done in a 30-minute span for 3 days. I don't know if I did well. Y'all tell me if I did good or not. But click right here to see how Mr. Tendonism, wow, fought back. This is the video that y'all really should have tuned in today. But it is what it is. Click right here to see exactly what the hell I'm talking about. Or click right here for the playlist, and I'll catch you on the next one.